Hey, what's up guys? If any of you guys out there have a Qiewa Q1 Hummer that you feel is underpowered, not fast enough, can't get you up a hill, just overall underwhelming, doesn't leave you feel like you had fun after you rode it, then this is for you. There's a simple modification you can do. You do this modification to it and it's just a different scooter. That's all I can tell you. I can't stress that enough. So you might be interested in checking this out. It's a simple modification. The next video I do will be step-by-step instructions. To me, pretty simple. If you follow the video, you can do it. Costs you absolutely nothing but some time. You need a soldering iron. You have to be able to solder a little bit. Or know somebody who can. It's not a lot. It's just soldering a piece of wire on. Anyway, so in this video here, I've been riding this for about a month now. So I figured I'd do some more testing. Just trying to get like 0 to 20, 0 to 25, 0 to 30. 35 or top end, which would be around 34, 35 for this. I'm going to do that. I've already done it with the old controller with torque mod, the new controller torque mod, and then just the old controller stock, just to get a baseline to compare it to the other two with. And pretty good results. I think you guys are going to be surprised. And it also will illustrate the difference between the old controller, the torque mod, versus the new one. Old one has low end torque, new one has high end torque. And the results you're going to see are going to clarify that as well.
Okay, also just to clarify, again, I've done it in other videos, but what the new controller looks like. The new controller, the side that all the wires are coming out, will have a black plastic end cap on it. The older one will have a metal plate there. The other end's metal, and the label is on the end. On the old one, the label's across the top. This one also has this little mounting bracket on it. The main thing is this black plastic cap on the end where all the wires come out. This is a new controller. If you're thinking about doing this and you want to see what controller you have, take your deck off, look at your controller. If you've got one with the black plastic cap on the end like this, then that's the one that I'm going to be talking about specifically. If you have the older one that has metal plates on both ends and the labels across the top here, you can torque mod that as well. It will have super low end torque, so right off the line you got to lean forward or the front end will want to come off the ground, and that's pretty cool too. I love that ride too. That's a different mod. So I have an older video on that. There's been some changes I went through. So if you're thinking about doing that to your older controller, hang on a little while longer, because after I do the video on this new controller for the torque mod, I'm going to redo the original one. So that's out there too. So you'd be able to do either one. Or, this isn't a bad idea, if you have the older controller in your scooter, you might want to think about ordering a new controller from Qiewa. It's $70. You get it in a couple weeks, and you'll get one of the new ones like this. And I have one of each for my scooter. I can run with the low end torque. I can swap it out and put the high end torque in. And I love being able to switch between the two. It's great. It's like having two different tunes on a car. Anyway, something to think about. Again, the actual installing that modification is coming up on my next video. This one I'm just going to show you some more results of running with the torque mod. Okay, so here's the app we're going to use during the testing. Same one I've been using for a while. This is going to be our current speed, the big blue one in the middle there, current speed. The other thing we're going to be looking at this time is this little display down here. It says race 0 to 60, 0 to 100, and a quarter. The quarter is quarter mile, so it's going to be counting, and then when you hit the quarter mile point, it's going to stop counting and freeze that. These other two, 0 to 60, 0 to 100, that's to miles per hour, 0 to 60 and 0 to 100 miles per hour. Obviously, we're not going to be hitting that, so those are just going to continuously count from the beginning. But that'll be a good way to look in the video to see, for example, when that hits 25, what is the timing on that. So the other thing I'm going to do, because I've been having trouble getting this to start when I need it to start. So sometimes it starts a little late, sometimes a little early. So when I'm getting ready to go, I'm going to count down. I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, throttle. And then what that means is when I say 1, I'm going to push off with my foot and get it up on this board. So I've got both feet on the deck. And then when I say throttle, that'll be when I'm first hitting the throttle on the scooter. So that's where I'm basing my time from when I first hit that throttle. So again, I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, push up, get my foot up on the board, throttle when I hit the throttle. So that'll be my starting point. In case this doesn't start when it should, I'll be able to look at that or just run it with a stopwatch separately from the time I say throttle and get a timing that way. I just don't 100% trust this thing starting when I want it to, so I had to have a secondary way of measuring it. The app is Ulysses speedometer. If you want to pick that up, it works pretty good. I think it's a little bit delayed, and it takes a second for it to catch up. For example, with the torque mod on these scooters, it's going to struggle to keep up. So as we're accelerating, this is going to be jumping, and it might jump 1, 2, or 3 digits at a time. So hopefully we'll be able to figure out close enough to where we are when we hit 20, 25, 30, and then top end around 34, 35.
Alright guys, so this first run was on the original controller, unmodified, so this is just the stock controller, so you can get a baseline to compare the other runs against. The road I'm driving on here is the one I've been testing on frequently. It's pretty level most of the way at the tail end of the section, and basically I run like a quarter mile, and we'll get quarter mile times too. Towards the end of it, it does go downhill slightly. It's not a big hill, but I would have to say on that section towards the tail end, I probably get an extra 2 miles per hour on that end section, because it does go slightly downhill, and I've got all my momentum built up by that point, so it rolls pretty good there. But for the most part, the road's level up until that tail end of it. So, whatever I hit for top end, if you wanted to just talk strictly level, you could probably subtract 2 miles an hour off of what I hit in the testing. And also, the test constraints on this is both tires are aired up to 55 PSI. You literally will get 2 miles per hour more at your top end with 5 PSI in your tires. So I normally ride at 55 PSI because I like having the top end. If you want a softer ride, you could go at 50 PSI. I'd recommend at least 50 PSI in your tires. So anyway, I'm running 55 PSI in this video on the tires, both front and back. The P15 setting I've confirmed is 100, set to 100. So those are the two main constraints. And these tests are all done off a fresh battery or after running maybe a half mile to a mile before doing a secondary test. So pretty much within a full charge on the battery on each of these runs.
So this is going to start off with the original controller, unmodified, so stock controller, no torque mod. Ride my son's scooter. Original unmodified controller. 3, 2, 1, throttle. Alright guys, so I made up this chart so you can easily track the times between these different things. So first of all, let's just take a look at this. Along top here, these rows that go down. Speed, 0, which will be from the time I say throttle, time I first hit the throttle, to 20, 25, 30, 35, top speed, whatever that may be, and the quarter mile time. We've got the original old controller, which is the video the run we just saw, unmodified. old controller with torque mod, new controller torque mod. So we just did the original old controller unmodified, 20 miles per hour, 9.09 seconds, 25, 13 seconds, 30 miles per hour, 21 seconds, 35, didn't hit 35, 33 was our max speed, and we did that in 31 seconds even. Top speed again, 33 miles per hour, 31 seconds, and our quarter mile time was 36 seconds even. It's just slightly under that. Okay, so that was the original controller, unmodified. Next, we're going to look at the original old controller with the torque mod. All right, guys, we got the original controller with the torque mod going out this time.
Three, two, one, throttle.
Alright guys, so let's take a look at this. You can see there's the drastic difference between the unmodified controller, old controller, and the old controller with the torque mod on it. So let's compare them here. This is 20 miles per hour, unmodified 9 seconds, with the torque mod 4 seconds. So we shaved 5 seconds off the 0 to 20 speed. That's incredible. Okay, let's go on. 25 miles per hour, 13 seconds with the unmodified controller, a little over 6 seconds with the torque mod on the original controller. Next, 30 miles per hour, 21 seconds with the unmodified controller, slightly over 10 seconds, 0 to 30 miles per hour, and a little bit over 10 seconds with the torque mod on the old controller. And man, you can really feel it when you're on there. Okay, 35 miles per hour. The old one, unmodified, topped out at 33 in that run I did. Took 31 seconds to get there. Old controller torque mod, topped out at 35, but actually it got to 34 miles per hour in a little over 19 seconds, where this one got to 33 in 31 seconds. So you can tell, just so much more powerful and faster. Okay, it did finally hit 35 miles per hour, but it did take a little over 28 seconds to do that, but still hit 35 quicker than this one hit 33. And then again, top speed was 35 miles per hour, did it in 28.28 seconds. And then quarter mile, old controller unmodified, 36 seconds. Old controller with the torque mod, about 30 seconds. So it shaved 6 seconds off the quarter mile time. As you can see, the old controller, same controller, just added the torque mod. It makes it a completely different scooter. Okay, so last now we're going to check our runs with the new controller with the torque mod, and tell you guys this really surprised me, the results I got here. Let's have a look. This is going to be the new controller with the torque mod in it.
Okay, here we go. New controller with torque mod. 3, 2, 1. Throttle. Well guys, I don't know if something was wrong with my GPS there. It said I hit 38 miles per hour. I've hit 36 before. This is a little bit downhill at the end, but this is just insane. I don't know if I can trust the GPS there, but we're going to do the second run with the second GPS. Okay, so now let's switch over to this other app. Alright, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, throttle. Well, it looked real. New controller with the torque mod, 55 psi on the tires, P15 set for 100, and I'm hitting 38 miles per hour down a slight hill. Level ground, I'm hitting 35, no problem, 36.
Alright guys, so there you have it. The new torque mod, new controller with torque mod compared to the old controller with torque mod compared to the old controller unmodified. So let's just look at the two torque mods now again. Old controller torque mod, 20 miles per hour, 4 seconds. New controller torque mod, 7.2 seconds. So the old controller showing that low end torque
to 20 miles per hour, it's a little more than 3 seconds faster. Pretty significant. Okay, next we stepped it up to 25 miles per hour. Old controller torque mod, 6.23 seconds. New controller torque mod, it actually jumped from, I don't know, 23 to 26 or something like that, so I didn't see exactly 25, but it hit 26 at 8 seconds flat. So again, the 25 miles per hour, the old controller torque mod is about a second and a half faster to 25 miles per hour. Now it starts getting interesting. 30 miles per hour. Old controller torque mod, 10.5 seconds. New controller torque mod, a little over 11 seconds. So it's somewhere between 26 and 30 miles per hour. This thing's really, it's closed at a 3 second, I'm sorry. It turned a second and a half gap into about a half a second. So it picked up about a second in that 5 mile per hour range. Okay, so up to 30 miles per hour, the old controller torque mod is still a little bit faster, only about a half second at this point, where previously, to start with, it was several seconds faster. Okay, so let's move on. 35 miles per hour. Well, with the old controller torque mod, we hit 34 pretty quickly at 19.15 seconds. Didn't hit 35 till 28.28. So you can see, kind of topped out around 34, and then took a little while to get back up to get up to 35 to get that extra mile per hour. New controller torque mod had no problem, hit 35 miles per hour, and it did it in 16.3 seconds. So now you can see the new controller with the torque mod, 35 miles per hour, 16.3 seconds. The old controller torque mod, 34 miles per hour, 19 seconds. This thing's 3 seconds faster and 1 mile per hour faster. So it hit 35 in 16.3. The old one hit 34 in 19.5. So okay, this thing's blazing by the speed of the old one at this point. Okay, then top speed. Again, old controller torque mod. Top speed was 35 miles per hour on that run. Took 28.28 seconds. New controller torque mod. Topped out at 38 miles per hour on my initial GPS in 28.51 seconds. So both of them in about the same amount of time. The old controller torque mod could max 35, same amount of time. The new one did 38. I was kind of surprised. That's the fastest I'd ever gone on that scooter at that point. 38 miles per hour. I wasn't sure if something wasn't quite right, the GPS. I reran it using the different app with GPS. Got to 36 miles per hour. Had to back off because there was a car looking like it was going to pull out there. Backed off a little bit. Got back on it. Got up to 37 miles per hour again. So these numbers are real. Verified with 2 GPSs. So yeah, it looked really good. And then of course the last one, the quarter mile. This is very interesting. Old controller torque mod. About 30 seconds. 6 seconds faster one than the unmodified one. New controller torque mod. 30 seconds. So look at that. The final number is the quarter mile, both the old controller torque mod and new controller torque mod. 30 seconds. It's almost identical. That blows me away. And it's 2 different torque ranges. You can see the old one had a 3-second lead at 20 miles per hour. And then across the torque range, this one just caught up, and in the end they ended up being tied at a quarter mile. Now had I kept going past the quarter mile, of course the new one, the torque mod, would have eventually just started pulling away from this old one at that point, having a top end of 37, 38 miles per hour, where this one maxed at 35. So yeah, new controller torque mod. If you guys you don't like the power, this thing's giving you the speed, the pull up the hill, open it up. If you got that new controller, you might want to think about doing this, because I mean, these numbers tell it all. It's a completely different scooter running with the torque mod in it. Okay, so the next video I upload is going to be the actual torque mod video of how to modify the new controller. Alright guys, that's about it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Got some more data out there. Man, I just love riding this thing with the torque mod. Well, it's the old one or new one, but I've been riding the new one lately, and it's incredible. Alright guys, that's it for now. Peace, ride safe. Hey, one more thing. I ran into a guy at the store today. Went down to the store. I had my helmet on because of this COVID thing, so instead of wearing a mask, I just left my helmet on with the visor down.
and ran into a guy in there. He came up to me. He's like, "Man, I really like seeing you wearing a full face helmet." This guy was on a motorcycle about a month ago, and he, due to an accident, went down, and that full face helmet saved his life. I mean, a month later, he's walking around in the store. Yeah, he's not in great shape still, but the guy's alive, and he said, "Man, if I didn't have that full face helmet on, he's just a half helmet. His face went literally into the ground, and that thing saved his life. And he's walking around today talking about it." Anyway, just thought I'd share that with you guys. Get some equipment if you're going to be going this fast. Hell, even if you're going 20 miles per hour, wear a decent helmet. Highly recommend a full face helmet. My son Aaron's 11, so I go further than that. We wear the jacket, full armor jacket, gloves, knee pads, full helmet. Be safe out there, guys, and ride safe and take care. Later.